Welcome to Pennsylvania's annual vendor training. The objectives of this training are to assure WIC-authorized stores are educated in WIC program regulations, policies, and procedures, to improve WIC program services for both customers and retail grocers, to prevent program noncompliance, provide training and training materials to stores, and make the eWIC transaction go as smoothly as possible. Today's agenda will be covering an overview of the WIC program, the WIC food list, shopping, eWIC transactions, Level 3 certifications, customer service, vendor responsibilities with eWIC, sanctions, types of compliance monitoring, and what to do if you have questions. What is WIC? It stands for Women, Infants, and Children. It is a no-cost health and nutrition program for pregnant women, breastfeeding women, postpartum women, infants, and children up to age 5. It provides nutrition education, breastfeeding support, nutritious supplemental foods, and referrals to valuable health and social services. To be eligible for WIC, you must provide proof of Pennsylvania residency. WIC does not look at citizenship. Participants must also have a household income that does not exceed the 185% poverty guideline or be eligible for medical assistance through the state of Pennsylvania. You must also be certified to have a medical or nutritional risk by WIC staff. Next, we are going to look at the income guidelines. You can see the family size on the left. Then you can see the gross weekly, biweekly, twice monthly, monthly, and annual salaries that participants must be under to be eligible for WIC. For example, a household of 4 can make up to $48,470 and be eligible for WIC. Funding is provided by USDA. Each state does things a little differently. In our state, WIC is administered by the Pennsylvania Department of Health. They contract with local agencies that manage and operate the WIC clinics. Next, we are going to be talking about the food list. The important nutrients and the WIC foods which supply those nutrients are listed in the table. These nutrients drive the foods that the WIC program provides to participants. It is a requirement to have the food list at each register that participants could use at your store. We are going to look at each of the categories, but will not be going into every single item that is allowed or not allowed. Please make sure to review your food list for a thorough listing of all items. The first item that we will be looking at is milk. Participants can buy any brand of milk in half gallons or gallons. Participants must buy the fat level that is on their WIC benefit balance. The benefit balance will indicate whether they can purchase whole, reduced fat, low fat, or non-fat. No exceptions can be made from the fat level listed on the participant's card. Cheese. Participants can buy 8 or 16-ounce packages, block, slice, shredded, stick, or string. Check your food list for the types of cheese allowed, such as cheddar or mozzarella. Some of the items that participants can't buy are individually wrapped cheese, deli cheese, cheese with added ingredients such as pepper jack or horseradish cheese, smoked cheese, and cube cheese. Yogurt. Participants can purchase 32-ounce containers only. Brands are specified on the food list. They can buy full fat, low fat, or non-fat. Just like milk, the fat level that the participant is allowed to purchase will be listed on their WIC benefit balance. If their benefit balance says whole fat yogurt, then they can only purchase whole fat and are not allowed to purchase low fat or non-fat yogurts. Soy products. Soy beverages can be purchased in 32 or 64-ounce containers only. Tofu can be purchased in 16-ounce containers only. Both of these items are brand specific. Please check your food list for the approved products. Juice. Juice must be 100% juice. Juice is brand specific. See your WIC food list for products that are allowed. Some of the items that cannot be purchased are ciders, cocktails, organic, or juice with added non-nutritive sweeteners. Children can purchase 64-ounce bottles or cartons, and women can purchase 11.5 to 12-ounce frozen juice, 48-ounce bottles, or shelf-stable concentrate. Fruits and vegetables. In this category, participants are issued dollar amounts to purchase fruits and vegetables. Any brand is allowed. This is the one category that participants can purchase organic products. Participants can purchase fresh, any whole or cut with no added sugars, fats, or oils, frozen, any brand with no added sugars, fats, or oils, or canned, any brand, jarred or multi-pack with no added sugars, fats, oils, or salt. Whole kernel corn and green peas that contain sugar are allowed. Check your food list for additional items that are not allowed to be purchased. Cereal. Cereal is another brand-specific category, so check out your food list for items that are allowed. Packages must be in 12-ounce packages or higher. Whole grains. Whole grains must be purchased in 16-ounce packaging and are brand-specific. Participants can purchase whole wheat or whole grain breads or rolls, whole wheat pasta, whole grain brown rice, corn, or whole wheat tortillas and oats. Next are the legumes or beans. Any brand is allowed to be purchased in 15.5 to 16-ounce cans or 1 pound dry. Participants can purchase canned or dried beans based on what is on their WIC benefit balance. Canned fish. Participants can purchase 3.75, 5, or 6-ounce cans only. Any brand chunk like tuna, pink salmon, or sardines. It has to be packed in water, cannot buy those packed in oil. Infant foods. Formula can be purchased based on the brand and type specified on the WIC benefit balance. Infant cereal can be purchased in 8 or 16-ounce containers. It can be barley, rice, oatmeal, whole wheat, or multigrain. Infant fruits and vegetables can be purchased in 4-ounce containers. Multi-packs are also allowed in the 2 2-ounce or 2 4-ounce packaging. Infant meats can be purchased in the 2.5-ounce containers and are only for fully breastfed babies. Eggs. Eggs can be grade A or double A, brown or white, small, medium, or large, but you cannot buy the organic or the specialty eggs such as free range or vegetarian fed. Lastly is peanut butter. It can be purchased in 16 to 18-ounce containers. Any brand labeled peanut butter can be purchased. No spreads or peanut butter mixed with other items. This has been just a quick look at the food list. Please make sure to review your food list for a complete list of allowed and non-allowed products. Next, we are going to be talking about the recent changes to the brand-specific food products. Yogurt. This is a list of new products in the whole fat, low fat, and non-fat. In the whole fat category, Essential Everyday, Giant Eagle, Tops, and Wise have added plain yogurt. In the low fat category, Essential Everyday added blueberry, Price Rate added plain and vanilla, Tops added blended blueberry, plain, strawberry, and vanilla. Weiss and Yoplait added blueberry. In the non-fat category, Giant Eagle added vanilla, and Tops added plain and vanilla. Yogurt that is being removed. In the whole fat category, ShopRite is removing the plain yogurt. In the low fat category, Essential Everyday is removing the peach and raspberry. Giant Eagle is removing all their varieties. Lucerne is removing the strawberry and vanilla. Market Pantry is removing the vanilla. And Surefine is removing the plain and the vanilla. In the non-fat category, Best Jet is removing the vanilla. Dannon is removing the strawberry and strawberry banana. Lucerne, Market Pantry, Weiss, and Yoplait are removing the plain. And Surefine is removing the plain and vanilla. New soy products are being added. Great Value Original Soy in the beverage category and Soy Boy Firm in the tofu category. In the 64-ounce juice category, there are several new brands and flavors. Everfresh, Langer's, Northland, Ocean Spray, Ruby Kiss, and Price Rate have come on with many flavors. Brands that have added additional flavors are Welch's, Mott's, Best Jet, Essential Everyday, ShopRite, and Tipton Grove. Here is a list of 64-ounce juices that are being removed and their varieties. Best Jet and Diane's Garden are removing vegetable juice. Food Club, High Top, Crasdale, Lucky Leaf, Market Pantry, Parade, Red and White, Surefine, and Signature Select are removing all the varieties. Giant Eagle and Giant are removing cranberry. Musselman's is removing the apple, and Welch's is removing the tropical trio. In the 48-ounce containers, Apple and Eve Cranberry Blend has been added. In the 11.5 to 12-ounce, Topps Apple Juice has also been added. Juices that are being removed in 48-ounce size are Apple and Eve, the Naturally Cranberry, and for Food Club, Red and White, and Surefine, they are removing all of their varieties. In the 11.5 to 12-ounce size are the Essential Everyday and the Great Flavor. Market Pantry and Signature Select are removing all of their varieties. In the cereal category, there are two new brands, Cream of Rice, Instant and Original, and Farina Hot Wheat. The following cereals have added some new flavors. Chex added cinnamon, blueberry, and vanilla. Great Grains added crunchy pecan. Kellogg's added Frosted Mini Wheats mixed berry. Life added vanilla. Quaker Instant Grits added cheddar cheese. And Special K added protein honey almond and protein touch of cinnamon. In the store brands, Topps has been added. Cereal that is being removed. Cream of Wheat is removing Healthy Grain in 10 minutes. Mapo is removing Maple Oatmeal. Kellogg's is removing Frosted Mini Wheats Touch of Fruit Raspberry. Post is removing Honey Bunches of Oats Cinnamon and Bran Flakes. Quaker is removing Corn Crunch. Sunbelt is removing Simple Granola. And in the store brands, Giant Eagle, IGA, Ralston Foods, and Surefine are being removed. In the bread category, the following products have been added. 100% whole wheat breads are in the Bowl and Basket, Gourmet, Oswald, Schmidt Old Time, and Super Bread. Pepperidge Farms whole grain rice seeded bread. In the whole grain brown rice, you have Best Choice, Giant, High Tops, and Wegmans is coming on. In tortillas, we are adding Best Choice, Frescados, Herrero, IGA, La Banderita, May and Farm, ShopRite, Tio Santi, and Tops. Whole grains being removed in the rice category are Market Pantry, Surefine, and Uncle Ben's Natural Whole Grain Brown Rice. In tortillas, Best Choice, Frescados, Herrero, IGA, La Banderita, May and Farm, ShopRite, Tio Santi, and Tops. Breads that are being removed are Gold Medal, Great Value, Harvest Pride, Crasdale, Marita, Monk's Bread, the 100% whole wheat and multigrain, Nature's Harvest, the 100% stone ground whole wheat bread, Nichols Bakery, the country style 100% whole wheat bread, Pepperidge Farm, the light style 100% whole wheat bread, Roman Meal, the sun-dried 100% whole wheat bread, Schwebbles, ShopRite, and Signature Select. And lastly, in the whole wheat pasta, the Essential Everyday, whole wheat vermicelli, because there is another product with the same UPC called Din Spaghetti, and Surefine. New food lists will be coming out shortly. They will be good from January 1st through September 30th, 2021. Your local retail store coordinator will provide them to you when they are available. Next, we are going to be talking about shopping. The WIC Shopper app is available for participants and vendors. There are several nice features that both groups can use. One of the nicest features is that participants can scan items to see if they are WIC allowable. Participants do need to understand that just because something might be WIC allowable doesn't mean that they can purchase the item. It has to also be on their benefit balance to be purchased. Participants can also look up to see which grocery stores they can shop at or that are near them. The food list is in English and Spanish and is also available on this app. Participants and vendors can use this app to send in UPCs that they think should be on the program. Notification comes in through an email at the state agency, where state staff can review the item and respond back to the sender about whether it is allowed or not. We are going to be reviewing minimum inventory requirements next. Please refer to page 7 of your retail store handbook. These are the requirements that must be available at or below the competitive price. Stores that are applying to become WIC-authorized stores are required to have all the items shown. For example, if you look at formula, stores must have 10 12.5-ounce cans of the Similac Advanced Powder on site every day that they are open. WIC-authorized stores may be granted an exception for stocking some of these items based on proven lack of WIC customer needs. Accepted products specified on a WIC benefit balance must be available within 48 hours. On page 8, you can see there are other standard formulas and alternate products which are not minimum inventory requirements, but stores must be able to get these items within 72 hours after being presented with a WIC benefit balance with that item. Now we are going to talk about eWIC. This is the new eWIC decal that stores should be displaying. This is a requirement for all authorized stores to display this decal on their doors. There are a lot of moving parts and information that flows from one system to another with eWIC. The MIS does the same thing it does now. Participants are certified and a food package is created and assigned to the participant. Rather than printing the checks, a card is loaded with those benefits. The MIS also creates 2 files that the stores must use. The Hot Card List, or HCL, tells the EBT vendor which cards have been reported lost or stolen or are no longer valid. The Authorized Product List, or APL, tells the EBT vendor which products are authorized as WIC-eligible products. This file is at the individual UPC level for each product. The MIS sends the files to the EBT processor. The store is responsible for downloading those 2 files we just mentioned at least every 48 hours, and it can be done more often. It would be the HCL and the APL. The customer goes to the store, does their shopping, and then goes to the checkout. The card is inserted into the card reader and the cashier scans the items. The card and items are reviewed by the card reader and approved or declined. Those decisions are made by the information in the HCL, the APL, and loaded onto the card. Once the transaction is complete, the card reader updates the benefits on the card. Some important differences to note about smart card transactions. Cashiers cannot enter the PAN number into the POS if it doesn't work, and participants cannot use self-checkouts. At the end of the day, the store sends a claim file to the EBT processor. The EBT processor reconciles the claim against the list and also allows only the maximum allowable price and then sends a reconciliation file to the store. The EBT processor sends another reconciliation file to the WIC MIS to update the benefit balance and show redeemed benefits. So a day has gone by and you've had your WIC customers come in with their cards. How do you get that information back to the state? There are no checks to call in or deposit with the eWIC card. Every day your system should pull all your sales together in a claim file. There is a requirement to submit them within 4 days, but we are recommending every 24 hours. If you wait to submit a claim more than 4 days, you will not be paid for those transactions. The system will send the claim file to the EBT processor. Your system will also download the APL, the HCL, and the Auto Reconciliation File, the ARF. The APL and HCL must be downloaded every 48 hours, but we are recommending every 24 hours. The EBT processor validates the claim file and sends an ARF back to you. The ARF contains information about what is being claimed versus what is being paid. One of the major differences for you in this process is that if there are price adjustments, they will be done before the claim is paid, not after the check is deposited like before. This is where the APL and HCL become really important. If you accept a card that has been reported lost or stolen and you haven't downloaded the HCL in at least 48 hours, you will not be paid for that transaction. If you accepted a product that was no longer on the APL and you haven't downloaded the APL in at least 48 hours, you will not be paid for that product. The ARF tells you what is paid versus what is requested in the claim file. The next step is that the EBT processor requests payment from PA. Once PA pays the processor will send the funds electronically to you. If you submit claims daily, you should receive payment within 2 to 3 days after successful submission. Maximum allowable and competitive prices. The maximum allowable price is the most the WIC program will pay a store for food purchased using an eWIC card. The competitive price is the price WIC foods must be priced at or below to be counted as part of the minimum inventory. The prices are available on the vendor assistance site. If you have any questions, please contact your local retail store coordinator. Mapping fresh produce. Make sure you are mapping your produce correctly. All produce should be mapped to the appropriate universal PLU. You should not submit fresh produce UPCs to the APL. Some examples are: bananas need to be mapped to 4011. A bag of Red Delicious apples should be mapped to PLU 4015, or at least to red apples. A bag of plain lettuce would be mapped to the appropriate kind of lettuce. Example, a bag of romaine would be mapped to 3097. E-WIC transaction. Here are some sample receipts. Your cash register receipts will look different, but the general content should be the same. All e-WIC transactions need 3 receipts: a beginning balance, a utilization receipt, and an ending balance. The beginning balance shows the customer what's on their card for the current month. The utilization receipt shows what will come off of the WIC card after you've scanned their items. You must provide this to the customer prior to the customer approving the WIC transaction. The participant should review this receipt to make sure that what is coming off their card is correct and what they might be expected to pay is also correct. Then they can approve the transaction. The ending balance shows the customer what's left on their card after today's purchase. You must give participants all receipts. So what happens if a food doesn't scan? You may have a customer bring up a food item that doesn't scan as WIC allowed. There are a few reasons for this. The product may not be approved. It might be something that they purchased before and by mistake it was allowed. Check the PA WIC food list or the WIC Shopper app to see if it's allowed. And here is a sample of the new cashier food list. Another reason that a product might not scan as allowable is the customer may not have the benefits available for the item. You can check the beginning balance or ask the customer to check and show you. If you have checked the customer's beginning balance and it appears that the item should scan as WIC approved, then reach out to a manager who can submit the item to the state agency to evaluate if it should be added to the approved product list. If the cashier thinks the item should be allowed, here's the process. Someone will need to take a picture of the product, including the label, the UPC code, and the ingredients. You'll send an email and the pictures to PA WIC, and it will be evaluated if the item is allowed. If it is, then it will be added to the APL, and then, after a short delay, it will be available for purchase. You can submit new products through the WIC Shopper app, but you can also submit it through Vendor Assistant. This process does take a few days. The customer cannot leave with the item if it doesn't scan. They will have to pick another brand or come back after a few days. If there is an emergency, which would only be for infant formula issues, the process might be able to be expedited. Call your retail store coordinator if there is an emergency. Submitting new products. If you do not have access to Vendor Assistant, you can submit an email with a description of the product and the pictures to pawicapl@pa.gov. And again, you can also send it through the WIC Shopper app in the I couldn't buy this icon. Point of sale certification. There are 3 levels of certifications that all POS systems must go through. We will discuss each type of certification in the subsequent slides. Level 1 certification. Level 1 certification is conducted and supervised by the state agency at the developer or POS provider location. It is a certification of a system that is available off the shelf for WIC vendors. This is required for integrated POS systems such as those developed by IBM or NCR, as well as the approved stand-beside POS terminals. The complete test scripts are executed. Any files exchanged between the WIC state agency, the EBT card processor, and the WIC vendor are also tested. For Smart Card certification, the files include the claim file, auto reconciliation file or ARF, hot card list, and the approved product list. Level 2 certification. Level 2 is retailer-specific certification of a system that is proprietary to the retailer. It may be a modification of a commercial system, which is Level 1, or developed exclusively by the retailer. These certifications are also conducted and supervised by the state agency retailer location. The complete test scripts are executed. Any files exchanged between the WIC state agency or the EBT card issuer processor and the WIC vendor are also tested. For Smart Card certification, the files include the claim file, the ARF, the HCL, and the APL files. Level 3 certifications. Level 3 certifications, or L3, is a Test by certification, which refers to testing being done by the retailer in coordination with the WIC state agency and involves a live purchase at the WIC vendor location to demonstrate the system is properly configured. The POS system being used is tested by executing a subset of the certification test scripts and providing receipts showing the results. This allows PA WIC to come into your store and verify that you are ready to conduct e-WIC transactions. During the L3 certification, The representative will complete an e-WIC purchase, PIN lock scenario, and balance inquiry. Level 3 certifications are required when a new store applies to become a PA vendor, a change of ownership, when there has been a lapse in authorization, if a store purchases a new POS system, or if the vendor made changes or upgrades to the original POS. Requirements for the state agency before they go on site to perform the certification include: the store must have their PA WIC vendor ID number. The FTP credentials have been set up between the store contact and Solutran, which is the state's EBT processor. The banking information needs to be in WIC system, must have an agreement with their POS provider, and must have all their fresh produce mapped. Additional requirements for the store to be ready before state agency staff comes on site to perform the certification are: to have their equipment installed, staff trained, items mapped and/or inventory entered into their system. Stores also need to have a contract established with whoever they use for their POS. If it is an integrated system, you will need to have the new upgrade installed on the registers to process e-WIC. If it is a stand-beside system, it has to be installed and the WIC inventory has to be entered into the system. Store personnel need to have the phone number available for the technical support person for their POS in the event of an issue. A manager or staff person who has been trained on the POS equipment and with the e-WIC process needs to be present for the certification. In a perfect world, the L3 certification should take no more than 30 minutes. However, this all depends on the level of training and understanding of the store staff. Next, we are going to look at customer service. The WIC customer's responsibilities don't really change with e-WIC. They should be using WIC benefits only at WIC-authorized stores, should be using the e-WIC benefits within the correct time frame, and purchasing only approved foods with their WIC benefits. They should also be treating grocery store staff with courtesy. And please report any problems to your local retail store coordinator. WIC customers are also encouraged to report problems with vendors. If you receive a complaint about a WIC customer, contact your retail store coordinator. Some of the information that will be needed is a transaction date and time, receipt or last 4 digits of the PAN number, and any other information you have obtained. WIC staff will contact the customer. WIC customers contact the WIC clinic if they have a complaint about a store. If the retail store coordinator receives a complaint, they will reach out to you about the issue. Now we're going to move on to vendor responsibilities with e-WIC. There are some new responsibilities for you. The 3 new items. Download the APL and HCL at least every 48 hours. However, we recommend daily. Submit your claim files daily or no later than 4 days after the transaction. Scan each food item or container carefully to make sure you are not scanning an item multiple times when the customer has only purchased one. An example, scanning 10 jars of baby food, but the WIC customer only purchases 5. Have a WIC retail store handbook and the Pennsylvania state regulations on site. Display the red e-WIC decal and provide orientation and training to staff. Additional responsibilities include providing only allowable foods to the WIC customers. Formula must be purchased from a state-approved source. The list is available on the Vendor Assistant website. Do not discriminate. Have a copy of the WIC food list at each cash register that accepts e-WIC. And send at least 1 representative to annual training. This year, we will be providing this PowerPoint and/or recording, which will count for your attendance. Vendor responsibilities also include not accepting out-of-state e-WIC cards or farmers market checks. WIC customers must be permitted to participate in promotions, such as buy one, get one free. Do not offer incentives to WIC customers. This is not allowed. WIC customers cannot use self-checkout. Lastly, always have the phone number for reseller or technical support if there are issues with something not scanning correctly, specifically when doing benefit reversals. Remember, packs of Pediasure should not be broken down. If the card does not work, the customer should return to the WIC clinic. Sanctions. Participants who abuse the program shall be subject to sanctions based on the severity of the violation. That can include everything from education and counseling to disqualification from the program for 1 year. It could also include reimbursement to the WIC program for the purchases in violation. Sanctions for retail stores can include WIC disqualifying a WIC-authorized store or imposing a civil money penalty in lieu of disqualification for reasons of WIC program abuse. Stores disqualified from WIC due to noncompliance may also be disqualified by food stamps, the SNAP program. Disqualifications can range from up to a year to permanent disqualification. Lastly, we are going to talk about types of compliance monitoring. There are several different types, from routine monitoring reviews, compliance investigations, to inventory audits. Annually, monitoring reviews must be conducted on at least 5% of the number of stores that are WIC authorized. These reviews are unannounced random reviews. One of the main things that is being looked at is minimum inventory, stale dated items, and that items are at or below the competitive price. Other reasons WIC would do a monitoring review could include the state agency identifying the store as high risk, a WIC customer reports that food substitutions are being allowed, or that there is insufficient amounts of WIC foods available at the store. Compliance investigations are conducted on stores that are identified by the high-risk identification system at the state level, are new to the WIC program, are selected randomly, or have WIC customer complaints. Compliance investigations will start back up, but we just aren't sure when at this time. Compliance buys, also known as a secret shopper. Compliance buys are unannounced and anonymous. Cashier procedures are evaluated and documented. 2 failed buys will result in mandatory training. 3 failed buys may result in disqualification, and 2 consecutive pass buys result in the closing of the investigation. Lastly, inventory audits can be done. In order to remain compliant with the USDA's mandate to investigate and close 5% of investigations, inventory audits have begun to be requested by state agency staff. An inventory audit is a comparison of the store's inventory levels over a specific period of time to the purchases during the same period of time. This is to determine if the store had sufficient quantity of food available for sale to support its claim for reimbursement. Sanctions will be administered for noncompliance, which include disqualification or having a civil money penalty imposed. Here are some available resources for you. The item on the right is an eWIC resource. ea.wicvendor.com is an informational website that's specifically about eWIC. If you have a question about your cash register equipment certification, you can also contact PA Cert Support at solisystems.com. You should contact your cash register dealer or your IT department first, but this resource can help them find out information about the certification process. Please make sure that your retail store coordinator has your store's updated contact information, and please be sure to train everyone at your store. If you do have questions or need any materials that have been discussed, please reach out to your local retail store coordinator. Thank you, and have a great day.